Newspaper Review. I'm Moses Humphrey.
And I am Chukwuma Okoro.
And we have Daily Fanimo with us once again. And together we'll go into the papers, looking at the headlines. Starting with Business Day. The big story here is inside FG's plan to list power assets on NGX. FG to consider financial performance, operational efficiency. And then we have some other headlines here. Long road to Nigeria's education reforms. How exam bodies can win back prepaid card to promote financial inclusion. All right? And well, those are some of the headlines there on the cover page of Business Day newspaper. Well, let's get into the Punch newspaper now. APC opposition clash over FG's revenue growth claim. Presents counterfacts. Presidency tells critics, revenue, nothing without results. Opposition. Economists query Tinubu's no more borrowing assertion amid 13 trillion naira deficit. All right. And then beside the masthead, security concerns behind visa cancellations for Nigerians. Others, US. My reforms have restored Nigeria's global respect. Tinubu. Non-oil revenue jumps 40% to 20.6 trillion. Insist on strike, says over 2,000 doctors owed. All right. And then when you go to police taxes, 3 killed in Lagos Masquerader Festival clash. Terrorists recruited 1,364 West African children, shot 14,000 schools, UN. Let's start off with these headlines here. The federal government's revenue growth claim and the reaction. Look, I think he made that statement on Monday that we are no longer borrowing. All right, so
internally.
Yes, we're not borrowing from local sources. It's now, but how do you react to these other claims that have been made, or do we go deeper
let's take
into the conversation? Okay. So, the All Progressive Congress and opposition parties on Wednesday clashed over President Bola Tinubu's claim that Nigeria has already achieved its 2025 revenue target. Now, while the APC insists that the president has placed Nigeria on the path of economic recovery, the opposition, African Democratic Congress, Labour Party, New Nigeria People's Party, and the coalition of united political parties have accused Tinubu of celebrating statistics while citizens struggle under severe economic hardship. Now, it goes deeper. It says, although federal allocations to states have increased under Tinubu's administration, the impact has not Nigerians to seek greener pastures abroad. While the reforms have delivered some marginal gains, the weight of hardship on ordinary citizens remain overwhelming. Just yesterday also, we saw some Nigerians being brought back from Libya. I think the picture of one of the ladies who narrated her experience should be in some of the dailies as well. Nigerians are constantly running away, seeking greener pastures. The presidency and this administration is saying, look, we've done the best we can, basically, and things are better off now.
Well, but the president and his team, they can claim that they have done their best. Unfortunately, their best doesn't seem to be good enough for Nigeria, So, and like they said, there's an adage that says, a Latin adage that said, nemo dat quod non habet. You cannot give what you don't have. The president and his team, they have given the best they can. So as far as they are concerned, they have done their best. But unfortunately, a lot of Nigerians, including myself, I believe that their best is not good enough because there's still room for advancement. A lot of room for advancement. I don't know where to start from. If we start from insecurity, let us go up north. Let us come down south, southwest, southeast. Issues of insecurity. Doesn't look like there's a difference between when Buhari was. Even go to Katsina State. The president's the former president's home state. Did anything improve? No. Reports from that state says that, look, 3 local governments have been shut down. Schools shut down. Farmers cannot even go to farm. We are talking about Katsina State, a state that has produced 2 presidents in 26 years in this country. For 10 years, 2 of them were president, 2 people from that state. Yet, insecurity is ravaging that state. The other day, the Shehu of Borno cried that, look, we are under siege.
Indeed,
now, let's get into the health sector. What is going on? The other day, we saw pictures of people, National Association of Resident Doctors, doctors in training. They said the strike stays. And we still have top government officials go outside, to take treatment for Medicare and all of that. Even when so much money has been provided for the health sector, including the Aso Rock Clinic. And we see people from within those prisons fly outside for medical treatment. So what happens to the ordinary Nigerian? Go to hospitals. I was in hospital the other day. You see a lot of people dying. No drugs. And when there are drugs, you have to pay heavily. Through your nose. Now, let's get into the economy. Is it inflation? Even after rebasing the economy, you understand what rebasing the economy, authority, and all of that, to see how your currency is doing when juxtaposed with other currencies globally. And this is an inflation that the ruling government 10 years ago made at a single digit. When Jonathan left, it was spent to defend this dollar, to the extent that even the CBN governor and the Minister of Finance at different occasions made it slip that, look, despite the fact that our foreign reserve is growing, but it's not affecting our exchange rate. Because what? Because we borrowed money. Revenue target for this year. Beautiful, wonderful. So what it means is that in the next 4 or 5 months before the end of the year, before the beginning of a new budget cycle, can we use the ones that we will make to offset our debits? Because even this year's budget has 13 trillion naira debt exposure, deficit that we had to borrow. And even in the midst of meeting, opposition say all of these things. It's not for the sake of opposition. These things are real. We don't even see them. The president might have policy statements, policy initiatives that look good. But what I don't admit is the fact that, look, these things are already yielding results and that Nigerians are good to go. No, it's not.
Nigerians are not
it's
good
not.
to go. All right.
Yeah, for me, I've said it several times here that certain things may not really add up for now. And one of it is the fact that whatever statistics, Nigerians don't want to listen to statistics. They want to see it happen. They want to see it. For me, government should make conscious effort to follow through some of these policies and let it come down to the average Nigerian. Let them feel it. Because if we don't feel it, we will, because of our level of education and exposure, that we can relate to this. But the man on the street, if you go to Agege today, if you go to Mokwa, what they want to see is, we bought a tuber of yam some years past, show up this big increase. So, naturally, what we should be concerned about in the person's pocket, as long as we don't have that, it is just in the realm of whatever you want to put it, that will not really resonate with the average Nigerian. And the essence of governance is the welfare of the people.
All right then. Well, let's move away from the Punch. Let's go to the Guardian newspaper now. The big story here speaks to insecurity as well. It says federal government reopens debate on state police as Tinubu declares readiness. I wish we could put up that video. Gentlemen, the president has said, look, let's consider, you governors, you guys should go back and talk to yourselves.
I'm surprised that the president is bringing us back to this stage. Because I recall sometime in January, February, the 36 state governors met. Granted, a lot of Nigerians.
But I was expecting the proclamation.
The proclamation, now let's go to National Assembly, amend the Police Act, so that you devolve it to state police and all of that. Now you have the National Economic Council meeting that the vice president chairs, on 2 occasions. had it on their agenda, an opportunity
And
to talk
the
about
excuse
it.
they gave us was that they were tired.
They were
And they
no
were
time.
tired.
That
There was
level.
no
Now,
time.
these are the same people that will come back to say, look, and all of that. And you had an opportunity to put all of these things in your hands. And you bungled it. You bungled it. And now governors are still running back to the president, like Rada Diko did the other day, to go and meet the president. Oga, look, looks like I'm overwhelmed though, by terrorists in my state. And the president comes out to say, look, let's talk about it. So I begin to, the moment you get into office, APC, state police, in fact, as a member of NADECO, the president campaigned consistently. As a state governor of Lagos State, he was like, we need state police, we need the police to be under control of the state and all of that. And every Nigerian understands that. Now, the issues that were raised are, if the states now are in control of the police, what guarantee do you have that the government...
Is it not better for you to get to the river and maybe have a feel of the depth of the river?
without a life jacket?
No, there will be life jacket.
And the life jacket is the question that we are asking.
Now, the question is, Moses Chukwuma, we have some, it's not a novel thing. There used to be special constabulary, apart from local government.
Yes, there will be
At the
all those.
inception, you know, it's just that America didn't just stabilize to some extent. Even they still have issues
Work in
about
progress.
arming civilians buying arms off the shelf. People just go haywire and begin to shoot. But still, and let's see how far it will go. For me, we need the advantages of having a state police far outweighs the disadvantages.
You know, I'm sorry to cut in, Dele. You know, at a point, a lot of Nigerians had a problem, quite pessimistic that it might not happen. Why? Because the North has always used the police as a lever of control over the entire country. I said for Enugu State, he's an outsider. He's a northerner. If you go to most of the states in the South, the commissioner of police are always from the North. And when you get to the North, South, now there is an infraction. I want us to be very factual now. Suspected headsmen, most of them from the North, when they commit crimes, you know, atrocious crimes. And so the North uses as a lever of control. They use exact control over the entire country. So a lot of people were very apprehensive when the issue of state police. But luckily, the state governors voted in. So why is the president dilly-dallying? Does it look like, you know, a group of people are trying to leash him or trying to use that as a bargaining chip for 2027, whatever? No.
The state police creation.
No, the only thing is that you go to National Assembly and amend the act.
That's what I'm saying. So what are the people in the National Assembly waiting for?
They are
Has
waiting.
there been any bill?
No, it
sent to
has
the
to be an
National Assembly?
executive bill.
That's
sent
what I'm
from
saying.
The
The government is not even making
So,
moves.
no, I'm trying to. We are trying to hold the executive responsible for this now. So
Yes,
what is the
they should
problem?
be responsible for
What is the
for
problem?
delay.
That statement. It felt, to me, it felt like the president, you know, was basically the one making a decision about it. So, okay, go back and talk to yourselves, and then we'll go to the National Assembly and see how this works. So it wasn't about
The governors.
the governors. It wasn't about the National Assembly approving. It was more about when I put it forward, it will be approved. But after you guys have, you know, decided on how you want it done, I will put it forward and it will be approved. That's the feeling I got
Yeah, but there
From
was a
that statement.
consensus among the governors.
initially.
36 of them.
Initially.
So what
Yeah.
changed between then and now?
Now between then and now,
What changed?
So I guess
it was the president that
You
said,
recall that
came
the
out to say,
pronouncement was
in a
made.
matter of in a moment we are going to have state police because the governors have
You
all
know,
agreed.
the buy-in was also, I think it was gotten when they all flew to Bodinong Road during this festive period. It was shortly after that
After
visit
that period, yes.
that they made that pronouncement. Almost all the states.
No, not almost 36 of them.
36
The only
of
No,
state
what
was-
I'm
was-
saying
was
is
just the
almost
FCT.
all the states have men and resources on ground that can transport. Amotekun, let it transport. Agune Jimba, let it transform to state police.
I don't think that will work.
What
what we see on ground.
What we see on ground.
What we see on ground.
No, I don't think so. But
But it can be reviewed
No, but no,
and
the
rejigged.
mechanism. So that's the only thing.
okay, let's go to another paper. I see very interesting headlines on First Daily. But before we take First Daily, let's go to Benin City, where our correspondent Rhoda Johnny is standing by to, talk to Nigerians on their thoughts on the stories that made it to the cover pages of the dailies. Rhoda, good morning to you. What are Nigerians saying?
A newspaper stand in Benin City right now, and looking at the dailies, it's talking about the reasons why he had to establish state policing. And we are here to ask the good citizens on their response this morning. Who is here to respond to that statement?
My name is Anthony Musa. Now, I support establishment of state police. Why do I say that? It is because since the federal and the killings, mostly especially in the northern part of the country, so I believe let them try state police. If they have tried the one that federal police from federal and it has not been able to curb the restiveness and reduce the crime rate drastically, so I'm of the opinion that it should be tried. There's no harm in trial. So let them try state police.
Good morning. I want to thank you for giving me this privilege to express my own opinion on the matter of state policing. It becomes necessary, like all other states which we emulate, other countries which we are policing. So it becomes necessary for us to create an organized state policing to be able to concise the insecurity matter within the country. I think that will go a long way to help us to concise. I know security issue cannot be 100%, they cannot reduce insecurity 100%, but at least to the barest minimum. I think that will go a long way.
What he said in this tribune, my thought about the state police, in the sense that it's just like maybe a big place when you cannot reach here or there, but by the time you create this state police, not maybe there's certain things that you cannot go to federal. Due to maybe it will, before you go to there, then you get it here.
That is it this morning in Benin City. The president is saying that it's good that the president established state policing in the sense that it will really help to curb stress. Morning in Benin City. I am Brother Johnny reporting for Voice of the People TV. And now I hand over to my colleagues in the studio. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Rhoda Johnny there. And I like the spots she chose. You could see men, having their breakfast there, seated at a corner, and, it reminds me of...
That's how we roll.
That's
Men and their doings.
there was a day I went to, Ayobo area, eating bread and this, rice and this, and I looked around and there was no woman there. It was just men. The women were selling, but the men, and I'm like, all these men left their homes before 6 a.m. to come eat something. So
They are regular customers.
because you have to be out.
You have to be out as early as possible. So where 6 o'clock meets you is your breakfast table.
Oh well, that's on the side. That's on the side. Let's get back to the headlines now. And of course, Nigerians in Benin have reacted to some of these headlines. But let's look at First News. First Daily. Thank you very much. Tragedy on Niger River. Boat mishap claims 29 lives. Right beside the masthead, Tinubu, Nigeria's ended years of decay. Someone asked me, do we have two Nigeria? Because the president seems to be living in another. Wike to FCT residents. Leader, Yelwata still in ruins months after Tinubu's visit. But from the Punch, you have killings. Some of them were arraigned yesterday. And also, Nigeria Air, that story. Out of 5 billion proposed. All right. Police spokesman Muyiwa Adijobi redeployed amid controversy. China displays missiles, drones, laser weapons at Beijing parade. A show of force, I must say.
Yes, yes.
Lagos, known for some time. Well, DSS arraigned 9 over Benue Plateau killings. All right, so, gentlemen.
Where do we go? Where do we start from?
Oh, let's just touch on that and then we'll get into some other headlines. Well, he has said it wasn't 100 billion that was given to him. It was 3 billion out of 5 billion given to him to, get used aircraft. Like the one that the Ethiopian Air that came in was Boeing 737-800.
Okay,
The 737-800. Now, that aircraft, if you have the old one used and refurbished, you will get early 2023.
Okay.
You get it for that about 3.6 billion naira, an old one. And fairly used ones are maybe 6 billion, and the proposal was 5 billion. What he was given, according to him, was 3 billion.
And so 3 billion could
The
have
six
bought
on top of it.
3.6.
That's for you.
He needed to use the 600 million naira to add to the 3 billion
and
to buy a
aircraft
youth
for
loan.
you. So that means he's richer than the country.
Yes, now.
Now, see, I don't know the context within which Hadi Serika is making this revelation.
Any coalition to unseat Tinubu in 2027.
Of course, he can't be.
So let's marry the two.
If you are Hadi, will you be part of any coalition?
There are
Yes,
examples that are very, very glaring,
Very glaring.
that if you go through that route,
Now you Sabio.
Let's marry
Now,
the
you
two.
fall out of
the
line.
fact of it is this. You see, sometimes we joke a lot in this country. We allow somebody like Hadi Seriki to come and tell us. Ministry of Aviation, don't they have records? The Ministry of Finance
Exactly.
Incorporated, don't they have records? Should we be having?
It's no longer a player.
It's no longer now. They should give us records. Or do they want to tell us that they don't have records? Now we are moving from 100 billion. Where did the 100 billion naira even come out from? Now he's saying that I didn't receive 100 billion naira, and what I had is 3 billion of the
5 billion.
5 billion that was earmarked. I expect that the moment
And I even left 1 billion when I left office.
Now I expect that in countries that are working, the moment Hadi Seriki says this, the Federal Ministry of Aviation should come out with records. The Federal Ministry of Finance countering him clearly, so that it doesn't become a subject of debate like we are saying, like we are having it now.
because
So what has the EFCC done with Hadi Seriki? He's not the only one. What of Farouk? The Farouk.
Beta Edunko.
Beta Edu. So many of them. People that are sitting, supervising the National Assembly, some of them have cases with the EFCC.
You recall that one retired DIG, when he was addressing the plenary, at a point, he lost it and he said, look, some of you have your case files on my table, and we have not treated them before I left office, so don't come and say anything here.
And it's not, most of those cases are not statute bad because they are criminal cases.
Of course.
You can always bring in them also a thief.
No. Okay. You don't make noise about it. Just let them be. So that when you now want to hold them, I mean, when they see you next time, they'll be too ashamed of that statement. I didn't want to mention your name, but you
that's what I'm saying.
made that statement.
I said in
made that
US or
statement.
UK, not in Nigeria.
We were walking down the road one day. Nigerian politicians in the mix in my head. I'm like, could that be what is playing out? So some of them are caught in the web of corruption, but we don't see EFCC act because certain individuals, okay, just
We call it.
so, and then they now move around, saying, okay, we are loyal because they know.
Because of this kind of thing. Once they are out of line, they will recall, Makinde and Teslim in Ibadan during the governorship campaign. At a point, Teslim was up against Makinde seriously. And then the guy just came one day during the campaign in the open. He said, about I think close the case what
Say that
the
in
table.
English, please. Okay.
He said,
In English.
Tell my brother that his case file is still on my table. We have not closed it. He has a murder case hanging on his neck. It was just released. The case has not been closed. And from that moment, the
Slim shot
election, he shut himself down completely. And that was how the whole thing ended.
Or is it the case of someone that said,
Since
okay,
I went to
since
prison
I went
and
to
I
prison,
became crazy, then let's test you.
and the person went to
We
prison
went,
as well.
went to jail.
You know, so while liaising with the Federal Ministry of Finance should be able to tell Nigerians how much was actually approved, how much was released, and how much Sirika left
In fact,
in the coffers when he left.
four ministries should be involved in the Ministry of Budgeting,
Budget and national planning,
National Planning, the
Ministry of
Ministry of
Finance,
Finance, Ministry of Aviation,
aviation.
and which other ministry now? I just forgot it now. These are people that should
That
tell
should
us.
tell us, you know. That should
Exactly.
tell us. This shouldn't be hard facts now. Records,
Then
are,
Office of
except
the
they want to tell us that
Office
they
of
lost
the
records.
Office of the once you have a problem.
Well, I think it's up to us to make good use
So
of
they,
the,
because
FOI Act to get some of these
who is going to apply
information.
for?
Even if you apply, will you do follow-up?
I wonder.
Nigeria is.
So basically, yeah, if you are saying that, that means it's up to that. If this country is not getting better, then it's the Nigerian people's fault.
It's not.
It is.
It's not. Do you know how many FOI?
If we cannot,
Do you know how many FOI that Serap has sent that are waiting, kept in view? So many of them.
You know how many activist lawyers that had sent FOI?
is there no duration as to how long these things can be out there for?
It's like litigation now.
What will you do?
Moses, as a small boy, I played in the civil service. In fact, if you know what civil servants do, they can frustrate the president, civil servants. Because it's easier to come into the civil service and it's pretty difficult for you to
To be
exit.
sacked, yes.
It's not like the private sector that somebody will just determine your fate in minutes and you are gone. In civil service, you have,
You have
to go
to set
through
up one committee, one
and then
disciplinary
another one committee to review it.
Oh well, let's look at police spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi redeployed amid controversy. It's been, well, some have said it's a good thing because of his statements, in recent times, where he was basically. Some are saying that he's been reckless with his statements, especially occupying that office. And we hear that Benjamin Hundeyin has been propped up as his replacement. Yes.
Benjamin.
And in some quarters, some Nigerians are saying that is a good fit for that position.
Muyiwa Adejobi is somebody I know, and he has really done well in that office. But of late, I don't even know what usually come over there. Once they are promoted to DCP, CP, maybe they just assume that toga of the organization without telling lies, without hiding facts,
And without attacking the media.
and without attacking the media. You understand? Because, you see, in public relations, you also know that the moment you assume that office, the least journalist is your boss. Because he can make or mar you in the process of information dissemination. Just one little distortion can take you out of office. Now, the person that he was out to take his own pound of flesh from is still standing. Now he has been removed from that office. And it's just that it is easy for us. I'm sure that it will be kept somewhere where
He's
people
going
will
to
not,
deploy to, I think, Benin or where.
where people will not notice him. And for the next maybe 5-6 years, until maybe he suddenly becomes AIG, that's when you still remember that this one was once here. You understand? And for me, it marks of some level of arrogance when you begin to see yourself as the boss of all the journalists, when you are supposed to be their servant at that point. Because you are supposed to give adequate information and timeous information. That's why I still respect this guy till today. The person that I feel had done a good job of that office, and he never had much problem until,
Frank Mba.
yes, until he got to a certain stage that he cannot hold that office. That's Frank Mba. Frank Mba started as DSP when he started becoming the spokesperson of State Command, till he became AC, And when he became AC, he was moved to Abuja. And he had his promotion as deputy commissioner. And until when he became commissioner and he had to go to NIPS, that was when he relinquished that. And another person that didn't stay much on that office is Ojukwu.
Okay.
Ojukwu also did its best. But some other people
Well,
would always have
another
issues.
conversation some Nigerians are having on social media is why another man from the southwest?
Well, let me tell you, it's an operational office. You determine from the pool.
It's not an office that requires rank, really. I mean,
There are some strategic positions that you want to have. Egbetokun decides who becomes his PRO. You understand?
No, that is what the Nigerians are questioning. Why will he choose a Yoruba man?
If he had not found another person outside of his enclave,
Okay.
better than Olumiwa Adejobi or Undeyi has been touted, has it been confirmed that Undeyi takes over?
yes.
Yes, it's been confirmed.
As a matter of fact, I think Undeyi is a CSP. It's either SP or CSP. And of late, we've always had the least rank on that position has always been in the recent past assistant commissioner. So that means Undeyi would have accelerated promotion to become AC. Do you know that some of Olumiwa Adejobi's contemporaries are still CSP? And now he's deputy
Anyway,
commissioner.
whatever their position is, on that angle, like you said, this is prerogative. He
Yes.
decides who becomes the police PPRO.
Yes.
I'm not very well schooled on that, on the requirements, conditions precedent to assuming that office. But the thing is that it speaks larger to the, not just about how the former President Muhammad Buhari, more like modernized the higher echelon
Of the police.
not just the police, practically Nigeria's
Yeah.
national in place, and it is still more like that, and a lot of Nigerians are complaining. And when we talked about it the other day, and I tried to devolve it, to work for, our chief security officer is from a particular state. 80% of security officers in this organization are from the state.
The state.
Yes. So is it some form of coincidence? It's a Nigerian thing. And I'd like to say, is it that we are natural to be nepotistic? And how does that, relate with the requirements of democracy, the requirements of redistribution of a particular person? There's a particular media organization, that at a point we had people at the high echelon, two of them, in that media organization were all from those states. And so you might have sprinkles of, pockets of other people from
Strategic positions are
I'm talking about even at the private sector level.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm beginning to think, is it an African way of life, or is it a Nigerian thing, or are we
Well, I've not been exposed.
I think we are nepotistic in nature.
arising from our African background?
I would say I think it's a Nigerian thing. It's arising from our differences, those they feel are their problems.
Okay.
I don't know if it provides protection, really.
No, you have that assumption that you are better, but most times they betray
down on you if you're not given employment. Your pressure. Is it not your brother?
No,
To employ your
as a matter of fact, if you have your kinsman working with you, the question you ask yourself is, if this man commits an infraction, can I close my eyes and
reprimand him.
reprimand him? Because you will be summoned to the village and they will ask you questions that you cannot answer, you cannot defend.
So basically, it's not helpful to us.
Because I had an in-law that I helped get a job, and in the place I work, and when he went to the family and reported
The arrowhead of castigating you. Chukuma, don't you know this person? So you must watch your getting listened outside. So
more often than not, they don't even help. People you expect to protect you. Okay, look at what is happening for the optics. We don't, at least in what we see, for Beshala and Bola Tinubu, and people are saying, on the ministry that is responsible,
Saddled with the responsibility.
saddled with responsibility.
Yes.
So what are they doing?
What are they doing? Must they wait? And you see, when there are no consequences for action, this is what you get.
And as individuals, why must you jump into a
boat that is already
you
filled?
clearly see that is overloaded? Now you are rushing to go meet up a business
that will never meet.
It goes back to our mindset, like we started today's program with. The mindset of Nigerians. Nigerians driving against traffic. Nigerians jumping on already
moving vehicles.
Overloaded vehicles. When we used to have the Moluways, it was the same.
You will see people hanging dangerously on this Molue.
In fact, they still do on trains.